How does a boy raised in poverty, with barely any education, go on to create one of the world's most luxurious car brands? Rolls-Royce, known for making some of the most expensive cars on the planet, was founded by a man who had just 20 pounds to his name. Yes, you heard that right. Henry Royce built a $7 billion empire from almost nothing. So, how did he pull off one of the greatest success stories in history? Let's dive into the incredible journey of the bankrupt child who created Rolls-Royce. Chapter 1. Rags to Riches. Born in 1863, Henry Royce's life didn't exactly start with the promise of luxury. His parents, James and Mary, owned a small flour mill, but by 1867, financial disaster struck. The family went bankrupt. Forced to relocate to London, young Henry, barely 4, took his first job chasing birds from fields for mere pennies. His father continued working at another mill, but crushing debt loomed over them. Then, tragedy compounded their misfortune. At the tender age of 9, Henry lost his father, plunging the family deeper into hardship. With no other choice, Henry had to forego education to support his family. He sold newspapers and delivered telegrams, earning just a few cents per task. His mother, overwhelmed by debt, made the heartbreaking decision to send Henry to live with an elderly couple who were struggling financially themselves. Most days, his meals consisted of little more than bread soaked in milk. A combination of poor nutrition and relentless labor left Henry with health problems for life. By the age of 15, Henry had only completed a single year of school. Desperate to help, his aunt scraped together just enough money to enroll him in an apprenticeship with the Great Northern Railway Company. Henry moved again, this time living with 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐫𝐢, a fellow apprentice's father, who taught him tool skills in the evenings. Fascinated, Henry mastered the craft, building brass model wheelbarrows with astonishing precision. Despite his limited education, Henry's hands-on skills and unwavering dedication set him apart. Yet, after 3 years, his aunt's financial support ran out, forcing Henry to abandon his apprenticeship. At 17, he found himself working for a tool-making company in Leeds, earning just a penny per hour. His hunger for knowledge was insatiable, so when he moved on to the Electric Light and Power Company in Liverpool, he poured every ounce of energy into learning about electronics, often skipping meals to tinker with machinery. Saving every penny, Henry eventually afforded night classes in electrical engineering at the City and Guilds Institute. By the age of 19, he landed his first major role as chief electrician at the Maxim Weston Electric Company. Things seemed to be looking up until the company folded, leaving him jobless once again in 1884. But Henry wasn't one to give up. Determined to take control of his destiny, he decided to start his own company. Armed with little more than ambition and a meager 20 pounds, he partnered with a friend, Ernest Claremont, who contributed 50 pounds. Together, they founded F.H. Royce & Company, producing electric fittings from a small rented shop in Manchester. They lived frugally, surviving on simple sandwiches and pouring every waking hour into their fledgling business. The odds were stacked against them, but Henry's relentless drive pushed them forward. Their breakthrough came with the invention of the electric doorbell, which became a fast seller. Working tirelessly, Henry expanded their product line to include generators and electric cranes, and their success skyrocketed. By 1899, their company was worth a small fortune by the standards of the day, equivalent to over $1 million today. But Henry's ambitions didn't stop there. Now wealthy, both he and Ernest took a brief pause to marry sisters, Edith and Minnie Punt, officially turning their business partnership into a family bond. With their personal lives settled, Henry turned his attention to something far grander, the world of automobiles. In 1901, Henry purchased a battered French car that wouldn't even start. Undeterred, he repaired it within a day and went on to improve every fault he could find. His passion for automobiles ignited, and by 1904, Henry had custom-built 3 cars, named the Royce 10. One for himself, one for Ernest, and the third sold to a man who, amazed by the vehicle's craftsmanship, introduced Henry to a car dealer named Charles Rolls. Chapter 2. Rolls meets Royce. In a twist of fate, 2 men from completely different worlds would unite to create a legendary brand. Charles Rolls and Henry Royce, an unlikely pair, were destined to leave a mark on history with Rolls-Royce. Henry Royce's life was a true underdog story, having clawed his way up from nothing, while Charles Rolls seemed to have been born with a silver spoon in his mouth. But despite their contrasting upbringings, one thing bound them together: an intense passion for automobiles. Charles Rolls, born in 1877 into a life of privilege, was the son of the first Baron 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐿. Even as a child, he couldn't resist taking apart anything mechanical, earning him the affectionate nickname Dirty Rolls from his friends. Later, he attended Cambridge University, where he studied mechanical and applied science. After graduation, Charles dabbled in a variety of jobs, including working on a yacht and for the London and North Western Railway. Not only was Charles one of the first car owners in the UK, but at just 18 years old, he was seen proudly driving a Peugeot Phaeton, which he had bought in Paris. His passion for cars was so infectious that his father bankrolled him to open his own dealership, 𝐶𝐶Rolls&Co., specializing in importing French cars to England. In the motoring world, Charles had earned a daring reputation, setting an unofficial land speed record of 83 miles per hour, an astonishing feat for that era. But speed wasn't his only thrill. Charles was a risk-taker in every sense of the word. He participated in the notorious Paris to Madrid race in 1903, where chaos ruled the roads, and dozens of spectators and drivers tragically lost their lives. Yet, Charles thrived on the adrenaline and continued to race, undeterred by the dangers. Aviation was another passion that captivated Charles. He made over 170 flights in a hot air balloon and became the second person in Britain to hold a pilot's license, racking up over 200 flights in a Wright Flyer aircraft. From land to sky, Charles Rolls was a man drawn to pushing boundaries. But when Charles first encountered Henry Royce, he wasn't easily impressed. A man who favored 3- or 4-cylinder engines, Charles was skeptical of Henry's 2-cylinder car. That is, until he actually drove the Royce 10. The precision, craftsmanship, and smooth performance of the car won him over instantly. Chapter 3. Building an Empire. In December 1904, two men from vastly different worlds joined forces to create the legendary Rolls-Royce. Charles Rolls, born into wealth, and Henry Royce, raised in poverty, seemed an unlikely pair. Charles, a 27-year-old lover of fast cars, was well-connected in high society. Henry, at 41, was a self-made genius in engineering and mechanics. Despite their differences, they formed a dynamic partnership, with Henry's technical expertise and Charles's business acumen creating the perfect blend. Their debut, the Rolls-Royce 10 horsepower, was showcased at the prestigious Paris Salon, now known as the Paris Motor Show, selling for £395 each. Only 16 were made, and today, one would fetch millions. Their next creation, the Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, dazzled the world not only with its silver and aluminum beauty but also with its quiet engine so still that a cup of water placed on it didn't ripple. This feat earned it the title the best car in the world. As their car empire grew, Charles shifted his passion toward aviation. He became the first person to complete a non-stop flight across the English Channel, earning the title Hero of the Day. However, his love for flying led to tragedy. In 1910, during an airshow, Charles became the first Briton to die in a plane crash at just 32 years old. After Charles's death, Henry's health deteriorated. Though bedridden, he continued to sketch and innovate, never letting illness slow his creativity. Chapter 4. Leaving a legacy. Henry Royce had long resisted manufacturing airplane engines, but the outbreak of World War I forced his hand. In 1914, Rolls-Royce created the Eagle engine, which powered half of all Allied aircraft. This moment marked the start of Rolls-Royce's enduring legacy in aviation technology. As for their cars, by 1921, demand was so overwhelming that there was a 3-year waiting list. To meet this need, Rolls-Royce opened a factory in Springfield, Massachusetts. In just a decade, 2,944 cars were produced. Each car is handcrafted to perfection, a tradition that continues today, with some vehicles taking up to 6 months to complete. Both Henry Royce and Charles Rolls left a legacy that outlived them. Rolls-Royce became synonymous with luxury and precision, and today the company is valued at over $7 billion. As Henry Royce once said, strive for perfection. Take the best that exists and make it better. If it doesn't exist, create it. If you enjoyed this story of resilience and success, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring tales of visionaries who changed the world. Stay tuned for more.